Բարև ձեզ հարգելի բարեկամներ, Սփյուռքի ձայնը հեռուստահանդեսը դարձյալ ողջունում է ձեզ։ Անցյալ շաբաթ ՄԱԿ-ում ավարտվեց ոչ կառավարական կազմակերպությունների կոնֆերանսը «Հոգևոր արժեքներ և համամարտկային հոգատարություն» խորագրով։ Այժմ ուզում եմ ձեզ ներկայացնել իմ պատրաստած ակնարկը այդ մասին։
On October 28th took place a week-long symposium called the Week of Spirituality, Values, and Global Concerns. The final event was Raising Consciousness for Healthy Resolutions, chaired by Dr. Ani Kalajian. The event was the final gathering of Award Week of the Spirit of the United Nations. Dr. Kalajian is a board-certified expert in traumatic stress, a psychology professor, a community organizer, and humanitarian. She has been a representative of the UN for over 2 decades, holding a variety of leadership positions. During the event, the topics discussed identified the most pressing epidemics facing us globally, examining and sharing underlying consciousness and causes of global injustice and suffering, identifying and listing qualities of enlightened leadership, and finally, developing and listing remedies and their recommendations.
My name is Sharon Hamilton Getz, and I am the chair of the Committee on Spirituality, Values, and Global Concerns. The committee is a committee of the Conference of NGOs in consultative status with the United Nations. This year, we're celebrating the 5th annual Spirit of the UN Awards and Week, which was the 20th through the 20th, and today is the last day, the finale of the entire week. This purpose of this week is to celebrate the founding of the United Nations, and this year is the 66th anniversary. During this week, we have 10 working groups, ranging from business, sacred and transcendental arts, universal ethics, spiritual history of the UN, eco-spirituality, spiritual dimensions of science and consciousness, and today we have healing, transformation, and spirituality.
Among the speakers were Margaret Ajemian Aknert, recipient of the Ellis Island Medal of Honor and author of the New York Times bestseller, The Knock on the Door. She spoke about her mother, a survivor of the Armenian genocide, and reaffirmed her lifelong commitment in raising awareness and educating the audiences worldwide about this dark chapter of Armenian history. Peter Occhiogrosso, co-author of 3 New York Times bestsellers and author of The Joy of Sectus, spoke about visionary spiritual leaders and their prophets during the course of human history and the extent of their teachings on improving our lives today. Ms. Dela Maisy, mentor, member of the Strongest Oak Foundation, and author of the book, The Never-Ending Journey, spoke about the work the foundation does in supporting young men and women in developing countries by providing them with mentors through an online collaboration.
I'm Peter Occhiogrosso, and I'm a writer. I've been writing books on world religion and spirituality for the last 20 years. I also co-author books with other spiritual teachers like Carolyn Mace and Ron Roth, and Mark Whitwell and Joseph Pierce Farrell. About 20 years ago, one of my great teachers, Lex Hickson, who was a great believer in religious pluralism and practiced several different traditions, inspired me about the importance of religious pluralism and the need for religious tolerance. So since then, I wrote this book, The Joy of Sects, sort of guide to world religions and the things they have in common, the things that all the mystics of all the great religions bring together. And so when Ani contacted me about this seminar on visionary leaders in times of crises, I thought I would talk about the great practical wisdom that some of the spiritual masters have purveyed. It's very important to be coming together at this time when the world is beset by different kinds of warfare, religious wars, and ethnic violence, and the need for leadership to emerge and for leaders to have vision and to connect that vision to a spiritual vision and to an understanding that we're in this together to find spiritual and practical solutions to the violence of our time. My first time appearing at an event of this nature, and I often speak about mysticism and archetypes and journaling and things of that sort, but I have a great passion for the teachings of the spiritual masters, and I wanted to bring their wisdom to bear on this very contemporary situation which this conference is addressing.
The question is the purpose of my being here and why I traveled from Florida to come to New York. I'm on a mission, and my mission is to tell the world, or as many people as I can, about the Armenian genocide and my mother's survival. This class here was about reconciliation and survival and learning. And I learned so much in having written my book and talking about it. Everywhere I go, people ask me, how did your mother survive? And why wasn't she angry? Why wasn't she sad? She was a very funny lady. There are portions of my book that are hysterically funny, and some are sad. But this is a woman with great courage. So I've studied her, studied other survivors. And my conclusion, if there is one, is that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That crazy quote that we've all heard, it made my mother stronger. She persevered, and she had this dynamic, looking forward way of thinking. And so I'm still looking back because I'm looking for reconciliation. So I need to practice more of what my mother lived. And perhaps I too will find reconciliation one day. This event was wonderful. It was very enlightening. We talked about the healing power. And I remember that Jose Silva back in the 70s, I attended his classes, and we healed people in another state of a stomach problem. So prayer, positive thinking, and mind control does work.
I think it's very exciting that for one of the first times that we're integrating a planetary concept like the UN and elevating the energy that we all know that it needs, integrating into its everyday. So we have these leaders that have a vision for how they would like the planet to look, and we're elevating that vision and giving them the tools that they need so that we actually see those outcomes. And those outcomes are really based on our intention. And so when we are very, very clear what our intention is and it's not fragmented, then we see the results that we need. We often know that, well, we really would like this to happen, but in the back of our minds there's all these other hidden agenda and dynamics, and we sometimes say to ourselves, how is it that I said I wanted this and I ended up over here? Well, it's because our intentions are fragmented and we're unaware of this. So by bringing that to the light and being very clear in our intentions, we can get the results. We can create the results, not with our brains, but with our hearts as well. They both have to be connected to get the outcomes, to achieve the best version of ourselves and the best version of our world.
We organize about 4 similar events a year, all of them geared to raise consciousness and bring mindfulness to people, to our community. Each one has a different focus, and today's focus was specific on leadership, especially during these difficult times, both economically, politically, and in terms of conflicts around the world. We are experiencing a hard time. And we need visionary leaders who can see 6 steps ahead of others, the larger community, and guide us into a more mindful and visionary leadership, focusing on compassion and the heart. A lot of the speakers, you realize, talked about how important is connecting with the heart and really doing things based on love and humanness rather than competition, greed, and taking over. So there's a shift because the previous leadership, what they thought they knew about leaders, they thought it was the ones who were aggressive the ones who were aggressive, the ones who were taking over other organizations, the mergers and so on. We came through all that culture, and now we're embracing going back to our heart and to our own health, which a lot of the speakers talked about, that we can't be visionary leaders if we are not feeling well. So how to heal ourselves, and healing ourselves and sharing the healing energy with the people around us, always being mindful of the vision, what would be like 40, 50 years from now, what would be most important to us. And what they said is intimacy. What we need is intimacy, connecting together and keeping in mind the values, the morals, and the love, the heart, always as a priority.
The event was concluded by the group's collective chanting, singing, and dancing with the scarves. Dr. Ani Kalajan's work has touched the lives of so many worldwide. With her message of forgiveness and reconciliation, empathy and repentance, personal health and healing, Ani Kalajan and her colleagues, who donate their time, resources, and efforts, bring a significant change and make a world a better place for all of us.